back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to cover constraints. So before going into the topic, let's recap what we have covered in the previous videos. So in the previous videos we have covered how to create, how to alter, how to drop the table. So in today's video we are going to cover constraints. So what are constraints? Constraints are actually a set of rules which are going to provide the columns of the table. So if we are creating any table, we'll keep certain rules that this particular column shouldn't accept any null value. This particular column should be unique, contain unique unique values, and this particular column should have some default set of values. This particular column will be the primary, acts as a primary key in the table. So in that way we'll be using particular constraints. There are 7 constraints which are available. So we'll be covering few of them in this video. We see how to create the table with using the constraints and how it works, and see how to modify the existing table if we have given any constraint, and how we are going to remove the constraint. So let's go and see how to create it. So first we start with not null, and second will be unique, third will be primary key, fourth will be default. So not null, if we have given the constraint called not null in the column, so that particular column won't allow any null values as a value. So while creating the table or after creation of the table, we can add not null constraint to the column. So when we come to unique column, if we set any column as unique in the table, so this works, this column won't be null and also won't generate any duplicate IDs in the table. So if we have given some data and we have provided 1 2 3 as a value in the column which is defined as unique, so that in that column 1 2 3 won't repeat again because we have provided unique constraint there. And same, if you go to primary key also acts as unique and not null. So whenever we set any column as primary key, in primary key the value won't be null and also it won't be it won't contain any duplicate values. What is default? So default value is like if we are inserting any data, if we won't enter any data, this value of the column will be set as some default value. Like if we have given some India in the column as set as default, so that column value will be set as default as India. So let's see how it works. So first we create a table, create teachers underscore data, while we are giving employee underscore ID, which is integer, and this is not null. Next we are going to give first underscore name as varchar, which is of we are giving 255 characters, and this contains, this will accept null values. So next, last underscore name, which is varchar. So here the data type is wrong, so we'll just correct it. Varchar 255 comma, and when we come down, so here the same 255 will give, and we set it as not null, because if you are entering any employee ID, there must name, at least last name, to be provided. So next, we will be giving mobile number, which is integer. So in this, we will be providing it as up to 10 digits, and this will be also not. Next, we will be entering pf underscore id. So in this will be varchar character will give 255. Yes, and this will be next. This is the not null which we have, a constraint which we have used. So next, how we can make any column as unique, so, or primary key. So let's keep employee ID as primary key. So employee ID for any organization, employee ID for searching any employee data, it should be unique and it shouldn't be filled with any null values. So we will make employee ID as not null. So what I will do, the syntax or the keyword which we are going to use is primary space key in brackets, whatever the column we are going to make it as primary key, we just define inside the bracket. So we have already mentioned employee ID as not null, and we made it as primary key of the table. So next we will be making pf underscore id. So this pf id should be unique bracket open pf underscore id. So we are making this as unique. So pf id is unique in our table, employee id is primary key in the table, pf id we have provided, mobile number is provided, which is not null, and also we are going to provide last name as not null, first name as normal, null values can also be accepted, employee ID shouldn't be null. So let's run the query. Before running, I just want to change the data type of mobile. I'll just use it as big int, using big integer, because the mobile number will be bigger. So okay, so now let's create the table. So let's create the table. So let's create the table. Sorry, either we have forgot to provide the table syntax. Okay, let's create the table. So the query will be create table teachers data, employee ID, first name, last name, mobile name, pf id. Okay, now we can see employee ID we have provided not null, first name is varchar 255, last name varchar 255 not null, mobile number is, we have took big integer, and previously we took integer, but mobile number will be large, so we took big integer. So we can also provide the length, we will discuss in the later videos. So next will pfid varchar primary key. So what is the difference between primary key and unique? Unique, whereas unique can be the column which you are going to make it as unique, it can also be null, but primary cannot, key cannot be null. So primary acts as both unique and not null constraint. So now let's create the table and see whether the table is creating or not. Okay, the table got created. So now what we'll do, we'll just see the description of the table. Teachers underscore data, sorry, underscore data. So if I run this query, you can see the output. So employee ID, what we did, we made it as primary, and second, first name, we made it as null, where it accepts null value, and third, we made it as not null once the value cannot be null, and mobile number is also doesn't accept null values. What we will do, we just want to if we want to remove the unique ID, so we just want to remove the unique ID and we just want to make pfid as normal column. So what we will do, and if we want to remove any constraint from the table, so how we can modify the table, so we'll see how we can do the alteration in the table. So before going to that, we can also add one more column which will be a default value in the table. So let's see how we can do it. So we have already created the table. We do one thing, we can also add one more column and we'll make it as use the constraint of as default and set some default value in the table. So let's see. So what with the alter table syntax, alter table, and table name is teachers. We are going to alter this table, and just to see how we are going to set, while creation also we can set the column values default, but we have already created the table, so I am just adding one more column. Add column, what we'll give organization ID, org underscore ID. So we'll give some default values in this. So we are going to set default values, like set default as 1 2 3. Okay, I'll keep give 1 second, keep it as varchar 255 is set default as 1 2 3. Okay, let's run this query and see. Yes, the table is got altered, and we added one more column as organization ID, where the data type will be varchar, and we set default value as 1 2 3. Let's see the description of the table now. So in the table description, you can see employee ID and all we have already added. We have added organization key also, and which accepts null values, even though we set the value as default. So whenever the in insert query, if we pass this as blank, the value will be displayed and stored as 1 2 3 for the particular record. Okay, we have seen. So if we want to modify some other column, so how we set it as default? So teachers, what we did, we just added a new column using alter table concept. So how we can modify something and set the column value as some default value. So we'll make for example we took first name and we alter the first underscore name, set default as AA. Okay, if you want to set anything as default, where the table where the column is already got created, you can do this. You can use the syntax and you can set first name default value as AA. So we'll just run the description of the table and just see. So you can see we set the default value of column first name as AA. Even though value entered as null, the value will be shown as AA and stored as AA. Okay. So to modify the table, like if you want to remove the constraint, we can use alter table the similar way which we did for the above. So what we'll do alter table teachers underscore data. What we'll modify so modify column. We'll make last name we made last name as not null. We'll make it as null where it accepts null value also. So we'll make it as normal column, last name, last underscore name, data type will keep it as same as 255, and we'll just run this. So now what happens, it got modified. Let's run the description and see. You can see now it accepts null values. Before it doesn't accept null values because we marked it as not null. So in the same way we can also make it as not null again, not null, just by writing not null, writing the same syntax. So let's execute this and see the description. Now the description is like the last name is null value, doesn't accept null values. In the same way we can modify. What if we want to remove something like PFID? For PFID, if we want to remove the unique constraint of the PFID, what we'll do alter table teachers underscore data. We used modification for the null and not null. In case of unique, we should use the drop constraint for PF underscore ID. So we'll just run this. I think we entered some wrong table name. We entered teachers underscore data. So now it works. Yes, it worked. So the description of the table, now we see. Now the organization, PFID is not unique. It doesn't contain any constraint. So just it won't accept the null values, but the ID of PFID records can be duplicated. So now there is no unique constraint for this. So we can also add the unique constraint. If we removed, we can also add in the existing table, like alter table teachers underscore data, and what we'll do, we'll add column as well, you might think the column is already created in the table. What we'll do, we'll add this unique constraint, मतलब column with unique constraint for PFID. So we need to do this. So add column unique PFID to just make the PFID column as unique column. Like we are adding the constraint to the PFID column by adding this unique PFID column in the table by altering the table. So when I run this, sorry, there is some error. Let's see what is the error. Okay, I think, sorry, we don't need to enter the column. We can directly alter table teachers data, add unique PFID. Actually, we are not adding the column, we are just adding the constraint to the existing column. So we'll just run it. See, now it worked. And now we just see the description and check. Yes, the PFID is again unique key or in the table. So in the same way, we can also modify the table, and we can remove, we can add the constraints in the table, or you can directly create the table with constraints. So you might think, but default we have directly setting the default, we directly alter the table, and while creation also we can do this. If I take some column as some organization name, org name. So if I take this org name, where it is a varchar of 255, and I just want to set some default for the value while creation itself. So what we'll do, we'll keep it as ABC. So what we'll do, just for checking, we'll just drop the table first. Underscore data. We just drop this. Yes, the table got dropped, and we'll create it again. Just to show you the difference. I just want to show you the difference. That's what I'm making this. Let's run this. The table got created. You can see. So now we see the description of the table. Yes, while creating also we can set the default value for the table. So these are the things how can you modify, we can add, we can set the constraints. So there are few more constraints which we are going to discuss in the next video, and we'll cover few more topics of constraints. So those are like check, create index, and foreign key. So we'll be learning about this and few more important points which we're going to cover in the next lecture. Thank you. Subscribe the channel to support. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next video.